Cheap and even earned dopamine will destroy your productivity. You see, dopamine controls our perception of time. Growth mindset, on the other hand, is to learn to access reward from effort itself. So tell yourself that you actually enjoy hard work. So let's discuss why both cheap and high-earned dopamine destroys your life. We're going to discuss a dopamine hack that can access the flow state in 66 days. Because it usually takes 66 days to form a new habit. First, you got to put conscious effort into the new things that you're trying to learn, and after that, it becomes a habit, if you stick to it 66 days. So when we think about your reward system, rewards tend to associate less pleasure with the actual activity itself that is evoked from reward. It can make hard work a lot harder since we have to make conscious effort into focusing on the hard stuff that we are trying to achieve. This is why hard work, play hard mentality is a setup for failure. We used this when I worked in banking, that we were like, okay, we got, for instance, the IPO, this company, initial public offering, and we want to work 60 to 90 hour weeks, and then we're after this gonna celebrate it with a huge party. This is a typical banking mindset, so I wouldn't recommend that. Now, dopamine controls our perception of time, and when and how much we experience this dopamine is the way we perceive our experience of time. This is according to neuroscientist Andrew Huberman at Stanford University. Now instead, growth mindset is something I would recommend, and it involves basically that you would be learning to access the reward from the effort itself, and thereby focusing on the effort itself will give you those small dopamine hits that will actually make you enjoy the effort and thereby doing the activity itself. So that's actually what I would define the flow state as being. So based on neuroscience, here is what I am currently doing and what I also could recommend that you would be doing for the next 66 days. So you can start to associate dopamine release with the friction and challenge of the activity if you are focused on the effort rather than just the end goal. So think about when you sit down at your computer, if you do the typical task, it sort of probably is kind of that you don't think about how you do your Excel modeling or call up clients that you already know, or then do programming that you're accustomed to. Then when you have these tasks plus new tasks, such as you should be, for instance, this week in our startup, I had to do Gantt modeling, basically doing all the divisions, all the contributors in the project, that what is each and every division's game developers, marketing team, assisting development team, what is everybody going to do in the team, which basically required me to go out of my comfort zone. So in the first 5 minutes when I have my typical tasks, in the first minutes it felt so overwhelming that I was like, hey, maybe I should do my normal tasks because I will leave this to another time. But instead, when you think about if you would be a salesperson, maybe you want to boost your revenue as if you're an entrepreneur. So maybe you have to do some cold calling. It won't feel great if you're not really good at cold calling. So in the first 5 minutes of the task, it's really important to sit down, focus on the task at hand. You might want to set up the perfect environment for this. I remember from my study times that hey, I wanted to have the perfect environment, energy drinks, some protein snack, I don't know, some music. This is actually a pretty bad idea because you basically just want to sit down at your task and start to focus during that first 5 minutes. This is the zone where you feel the agitation, and you gotta tell yourself that you actually enjoy this agitation. I use this same mentality, for instance, when I was training for the muscle up world record on my lunch break. I was in a calorie deficit, training fasted, and at around 5% body fat. My body wasn't basically storing any excess energy. So of course I was pretty tired all the time. Each training session for me it felt like, okay, I need to push to the edge. And I wanted to set up everything perfect. My weight had to be on point. My carbs intakes had to be on point. It was such a pain to make sure that everything is according to plan. But then slowly over time, I realized that you can't set up everything perfect. Instead, what you want to do is to basically tell yourself that you enjoy the pain, that you enjoy what you're going to do here. Again, when you're implementing something new, it's important that you stick to it long enough. So you have the 66 days that you want to focus on, and then the first 5 minutes of the task is usually where the hard part is. And it doesn't have to be, for instance, in sales. It can be whatever your task is. Usually when you do something out of your comfort zone, it involves this agitation step, I would call it. For instance, we have a virtual reality startup and we are a small team. I'm not really a technical person. I wouldn't consider that. So there's these new AI tools that pop up each week as mushrooms that can really 10x our workflows. When you have ChatGPT, Midjourney, AI motion capture tools, it becomes information overflow. It's really important that you segment these habits into different sections. So what I would recommend that you have almost like a supply chain of, okay, these are all the things that I need to achieve this goal. And then in the subsections, you would then make sure that you build step by step the new habit. So when you have these habits, if you watch this channel, I talk success coming from feeling great, and feeling great will give you success. And this is not just a buzzword, but instead you want to build it upon regular exercise and deep work. So with today's distractions, it can actually break up your focus. So that's why I would really recommend that you use these tools that we talked about, finding a way of going direct into the work, really push through the first 5 minutes of agitation, of doing the task, and then making sure that you have this supply chain of all things that you need to do in your workflow to become better at your work. And then having dedicated deep work for each day. It would be preferable to have in the morning these 90-minute sessions of uninterrupted work. So that's what we want to focus on. And in today's world, it can be really hard to find that time to really become focused. To sum it up, focusing on the effort rather than just the end goal can help you access the flow state and just enjoy the process of achieving your goals. It's important to push through the initial agitation state and build new habits through conscious effort for at least 66 days. By segmenting your goals and building a supply chain of tasks, you can become better at your work and achieve success. To learn more about how to improve your focus and access the flow state, stay tuned for the next video. If you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications to not miss the next upcoming videos. Thanks a lot. This is Axel signing out. See you in the next video.